Recording in progress.
IT. She's asking.
IT.
We can't see the
She's asking.
presentation.
We
She's
can see
supposed
the
to share the
application. She's
presentation.
supposed to share this. Supposed to share this. Supposed to share this. Supposed to share this.
Let me try again. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can clearly hear me. I hear myself in echo because the two sounds are on. So I just want to know if you can see my presentation, and then maybe would suggest you cut the sound at your end, the speaker at your end, so I can maybe take the 10 minutes. Just let me know if you can see my presentation so I can start.
Currently can't see your presentation, but we'll check. Monica, is it the presentation?
Presentation.
Could you confirm that you see it? If not, I can maybe just talk for 10 minutes without a presentation, if that is easier.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Okay, I will do the presentation without the slides. If you can unmute the floor, then mute the floor, then let me try. I do hope you can all hear me, and let me give you a brief overview of some of the other ways of looking at illegal mining and the challenges that countries like Zambia face when curbing illegal mining and tax evasion. So please interrupt me if the sound goes out. So I'm not talking for 10 minutes only for myself. I was asked to present specifically on the responses, what governments and public sector can do when it comes to illegal mining. But I just would like to mention or highlight something else that needs to be looked at. And another approach in curbing illegal mining is really looking at the financial aspects of it and looking at the illicit financial flows. So I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to speak here today. I think it would be a really good add-on to criminal offenses and the criminal activities that are surrounding the mineral sector. So when we talk about curbing illicit financial flow specifically, it's because it has been identified as a very lucrative deal for criminal organizations, for organized networks and individuals, not only the mineral sector, but environmental crimes as a big undertaken. And it's really something to look at from a broader scope than only illegal mining. When wanting to curb illegal mining, it's important to also think about the trafficking and the illicit dealings that are going on in this sector, and how it really gains a lot of profit and a lot of revenue loss, a profit for criminal organizations, but a revenue loss for a country. So therefore, going further, not only looking at illegal mining, but looking at trafficking and dealing as well. For your region specifically, there was a report recently published by the Financial Action Task Force, actually the regional body, so the Eastern and Southern African Money Laundering Group, SAMLAC, on this financial flows and how countries deal with that. And countries were asked about the legal framework, about how prosecutions and investigations are being undertaken, the role of the Financial Intelligence Unit, and specific a lot of cases they have or they don't have, and what the role of the gatekeepers like customs is, for example. And out of that study, it really showed that there's not enough awareness on how this sector can be vulnerable for money laundering and terrorism financing. And there are not that many cases. So there's really a need for doing much more on this level, more financial investigations, more supervision of the sector, and much more analysis and investigations need to take place, specifically when it comes to dealers in precious metals and stones. So when we look at some regional numbers, we know that when it comes to illicit financial flows on an annual basis, around 98 billion annually are lost. And that means that when we look at African countries, most of it is trade related. And specifically for Zambia, most of it is even related to commercial activities. And this is happening through trade invoicing. One of the examples here would be the copper. And that trade invoicing is a lot of loss of revenue and tax revenue that Zambia loses each year. The Financial Intelligence Center in Zambia has undertaken a study as well on trade-based money laundering and identified exactly that copper was the most used commodity where you would see anomalies when it comes to trade data. So when we talk about trade specifically, the mineral sector is very vulnerable, and it doesn't really look at the illegal mining aspects, but it looks at what's happening with the commodity once it's mined. And that can be a product illegally mined, but it can be perfectly a legally mined product. In general, the threat for money laundering is much bigger, much broader than just the illegal mining aspect. But again, it's very important to look at the entire issue and tackle all of the challenges there enable to curb the illegal mining aspects as well. So when looking at the numbers again, even between 2001 and 2010, the illicit financial flows largely came from extractive industries, which is gold, copper, even emerald. So it's really huge, and it's very significant for Zambia. So looking at the national risk assessment for Zambia that has been undertaken, is undertaken on money laundering and terrorism financing, and the report that has been done for Zambia by its peers, again by the same action group and the regional body for money laundering and terrorism financing, it has identified this is a very high sector, vulnerable sector for money laundering. So again, tackling the issues, looking at the financial aspects of it is very important, because profit is really one of the main actors or the main reasons why criminal organizations, I heard someone speak about criminal syndicates, this is what they're after. So cutting them from the financial sources is one of the angles of disrupting these networks and tackling the problem. It's not so straightforward in practice, and it requires a lot of interagency cooperation and a lot of work, but this is one of the ways of how to disrupt these criminal activities taking place and make sure that no criminals benefit from what exactly is one of the main economies in Zambia. So how to deal with that, and I'm going to be very brief on it, but it's really important to raise more awareness and strengthening the understanding, this both in private sector, but most of all within public authorities dealing with these issues. It's important to look and understand where the financial aspects come in and to really recognize where a potential money laundering scheme is taking place. This is because the copper and the trade-based money laundering is a big threat for Zambia. Hence, it's really important that these indicators are being recognized and also understood by all of the people that come across these types of crime. So this is one angle. The second one is strengthening the sector supervision, on-site, off-site inspections, guiding notes, risk assessments, really working on getting that preventive measures in place, control measures in place that are not only looking at after the events take place, but really strengthening the preventive side and working together with the sector on identifying where the issues are and where the high risk transactions may lie. It's important, in addition to prevention, to strengthen also detection, investigation, interception, and prosecution. This by different types of capacity building, but also via manuals, interagency cooperation, and looking at the best ways of disrupting these criminal networks, these syndicates that are behind the activities. Most of the countries have some investigations take place, but they look a lot on the first level offender, the self-laundering aspects, but not what happens around these persons, where all of the money is going, the bigger kingpins in the network, what's in the other countries, and where assets really are hidden, and how to retrieve those assets so they can be better invested and again invested in the economy. So that's something that is not taking place specifically when it comes to these types of crimes, and that is really an important aspect to focus on going forward. And then not only the national, regional, but also international cooperation. Illegal mining might be an issue happening in Zambia, but it affects the neighboring countries. There is a lot of activities taking place in the internationally in other countries. A lot of the assets are stored there and so forth. So it really in closure, just to say that important that some agency networks are being established, interagency networks are being established, and that a strong relationship with the neighboring countries and with the trading centers that are the ones that are receiving or transiting through these commodities is very important. So going forward, I think that is something that is needed to be done. And this is something, if you look at the work within the UNODC that we're doing, is to support countries in building those networks, but also in how to build capacity within the country and how to identify exactly what the needs are and work on that to be able to tackle and financially disrupt these syndicates in how they benefit from all mining activities that are happening and that are still a legal economy in Zambia. So I'm stopping here. I'm open for any questions. Thank you so much for having me. And apologies for not having a slideshow up, but I think I covered most of it. So thank you so much. Back to you.
industry in this country. I'm asking this because today when we and then we trace back to 1968, used to have it that the mining
Thank you so much, sir. That's my
She's not able to move.
We've changed our market. And small, that's there. I think it's this one is the store and what's the mining something I do. So over the years, we've built capacity within the revenue authority. We've worked with different cooperating partners. We had the strengthening audit function within the revenue authority that we worked with IMF and the Norwegian Tax Agency. Recently, we have a program that was running from 2018 until last year, jointly delivered by the OECD, the African Tax Administration Forum, and the International Forum on Mining, that was focusing on best erosion and profit shifting in mining. And we're looking at different aspects in terms of capacity building. We had the law strengthened in terms of building responsible capacity, looking at the value chain. Again, also incorporating the new output statistical evaluation system that I mentioned. We have a unit within the urban authority where we have engineers, chemical engineers, metallurgists, mining engineers, because we realized some time back that we also need the technical skill, people understand mining to be part of the tax administration so that we can then effectively reach profile and have effective audits. And if you've seen over the years, I think most people sometimes tend to doubt this, but if you see over the years, even the contribution of the mining sector in terms of revenue has been going up.
Has gone up, but we've noticed that there's so much mining. We have challenges, especially with a small artisanal sector. So one of the issues that we've been championing and gladly which the government has taken on board is to have the Mineral Regulations Commission currently work very close with the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Mines, to ensure that we're able to track minerals, but also in terms of laboratory function, in terms of analyzing the minerals. The mineral content has a key role in terms of the value you get. Most minerals in the country you find they will exist with precious metals like gold. So we've brought that capacity. But we've also gone further where we've created an international taxation unit. This was created in 2018 that focuses on transfer pricing and cross-border taxation. It has also received a lot of capacity building support in terms of enhancing its effectiveness so that we are able to handle transfer pricing and then other forms of illicit financial flows that can come in. We have an effective director dealing with investigations. Our investigations directorate has also been equipped. And as you saw, we have a number of cases that we took to court. There were 13 cases, 12 we prosecuted effectively. So in terms of the bigger players, we don't really have a challenge. We've built out the capacity. We are working close with the Ministry of Mines. But as a country, the Mineral Regulation Commission will be a game changer because once we have a regulator that can effectively license people that are supposed to be licensed, check that the production is correct, that will also feed into the Revenue Authority. We work a lot in collaboration with the Ministry of Mines and other intergovernmental agencies, as well as enforcement agencies, in terms of special task forces to deal with illegal mining, and also to help inform what government can do in terms of dealing with those challenges. I'm sure there's been a push to have cooperatives so that where we have illegal mining in the communities, they formalize through use of cooperatives. The government is trying to work on building board marketing centers to try to have a formalized market. We've also gone further to appoint what we call withholding agents, who are aggregators of the minerals. The number of companies who we know they will deal with the smaller players, who most of the times are not formalized. We appoint those when they buy. They then collect the tax and remit to the Revenue Authority. So we have a handle in the value chain as one of the means that we are dealing with. We'll continue increasing capacity in terms of resource, the technical expertise, because we know we're not there 100%, but really we've tried to move on, made tremendous progress in terms of stemming out the under collection from the sector. I submit.
Thank you very much for that response. And at this point, we'll conclude this session. Thank you very much, NK, for joining us. Your presentation was very informative. And to all the presenters, please, participants, shall we clap for them for the good job well done? I will now invite Mrs. Cynthia Mwila to come over and take over the session that will follow. Mrs. Mwila, you can welcome her as well.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, everyone.